Morning. Hey guys, how is everybody doing this Saturday? Good, good.
Good,
That's right.
good.
That's right. It is time again for a little live study. Has this benefited you guys? For those of you that have been in here for the past couple of times, has it benefited you? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Yes. I appreciate that, guys. So remember, the whole point here is no matter where you're at in the course right now, you're going to get some benefit by going through this live lecture. And the goal is not to get through an entire lesson, for instance. The goal is to get through a couple of slides at a time, because remember, we recommend that from a studying perspective, it's a really good idea for most, I'm not saying everybody, guys, if you know how to study, then you do it the way that you're most comfortable with. But the recommendation is generally that you do about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes max at a given study time. Take a little bit of a break and then do it again. So we generally recommend, just because we have a lot of historical data to prove this, that 15 to 20 minutes going through the materials, taking a break, jumping out, doing some push-ups, whatever, is the most beneficial way to memorize materials. Are you all with me? Remember, after about 15 to 20 minutes, depends on the person, your your cognition, your ability to memorize, it starts to go sinks way down. Now, you're still reading it and you're still watching it and you're doing it, but your brain has starts to kind of go off to Saturn and Neptune somewhere after about that time. So normally I say that 20 minutes is about it, 15 to 20 minutes, and take a break. Give yourself a little bit of a break, couple of minutes, then go back. Versus sitting there in front of your computer or your materials for an hour at a time. Are you all with me? So doing this should give you some assistance with the materials no matter where you are at in the course. Yes, if you have questions, you can throw them in the chat as we go through this. You ready to get started? Yeah, this means yes. You can. Okay. All right, guys. So now last week we kind of ended, if you all remember, we kind of ended on the motor unit action potential tonus. Does everybody remember kind of what we talked about with tonus? That's when you have this low grade electrical stimulus, right? A state of partial nervous stimulus in resting muscles. A healthy neuromuscular system is always neurologically active. That's why your muscles, right, are actually a little spongy, because you have this low grade or low level consistent nervous stimulus. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. Um, it serves as a way to ensure that generally type 1 muscle fibers, especially in your core stabilizers and other stabilizing muscles of the joints, are always active. You get that? It's also important because you don't want to go from a dead stop to muscle contraction, right, without having some low level of stimulus. I hope that makes sense. It's almost, and I use the word here, is that your muscles are kind of primed for potential stimulation. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So now our next slide, and this is a really important, especially from a testing standpoint, but this is a really important couple of concepts. Okay. One is the idea of the muscle spindle fibers and the Golgi tendon organs. Now, um, we generally talk about this with respect to, well, I mean, stretching. Just so you guys know, this is really important in the stretching process. And so that's why we discuss it for the most part. Does everybody know? Let me go ahead and get out of the share for a second. Does everybody know what the muscle spindle fibers are? Yes? What are the muscle spindle fibers? Go ahead and unmute. Raise your hand if you know. Raise your hand if you know. Miranda, you know? You guys know? Roshan, go ahead, Roshan. Unmute yourself and tell everybody. Come on. Go ahead. Roshan, come on. What do muscle spindle fibers do?
Put me on the spot.
Correct. They tell the muscle to contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tell the muscles to
Shorten and
contract.
lengthen.
There you go. Well, and I want to help you guys out with this because it's a really important concept. You understand that your muscles, your skeletal muscles have these neurological detecting devices. And again, there's more than just those two, but for what we do, they're the most important that we understand. So, muscle spindle fibers, Golgi tendon organs, the muscle spindle fibers, when they are quote activated, they tell the muscle to contract. Y'all got that? When muscle spindle fibers, which are located deep inside the muscle, I spoke about this a little last week, they tell the muscles to contract. Just let's leave it at that. That will help you answer some questions on the exam. Golgi tendon organs do essentially the exact opposite. Golgi tendon organs, or GTOs, they tell the muscles to do what?
Relax.
Relax. The Golgi tendon organs, when they are stimulated, guess what they do to get the muscles to relax? They tell the muscle spindle fibers to deactivate. Why is this important? Because you have these concepts known as autogenic and reciprocal inhibition. Okay. Now, a number of you I've spoken to personally, right, on one-on-one calls, and we've spoken about these concepts. Keep in mind, autogenic inhibition. It's a big fancy way of saying that the Golgi tendon organs are being stimulated inside a muscle. So a good way to remember this is autogenic, one muscle. So if you see questions on an exam, which of the following deals with agonist and antagonist? No. One muscle. Inside a single muscle, you can have this autogenic inhibition occur in a single muscle. So when we talk about autogenic, it's a single muscle. Is everybody with me? So autogenic inhibition is when the GTOs, the Golgi tendon organs, are stimulated. Those Golgi tendon organs, they're located in the musculotendinous attachment of the muscles, and they essentially tell the muscle spindle fibers inside the same muscle. They tell the muscle spindle inside the same muscle to deactivate, essentially. What's keeping your muscles in a low level or low grade tension level? What is doing that? Why is your bicep right now a little squishy? Why is it somewhat activated? What do we call that? Toneness, right? Like I said, toneness is the low level activation of muscles because of muscle spindle fibers. They keep the muscles slightly tense at all times. Well, if you quote, activate the Golgi tendon organs, they send an electrical stimulus to downregulate or essentially shut down your muscle spindle fibers. Right. Does that make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So the idea is that you have these two sort of competing neurological, neuromuscular components in your muscles, and they sort of compete against each other. I'm sure I like to use that word, but they kind of fight against each other. One tells the muscle to do one thing, the other tells the muscle to do something else. When muscle spindle fibers are activated, and they're kind of activated all the time, slightly in toneness, they're telling the muscles to tighten up a little bit. You got it?
Yes.
Golgi tendon organs do the opposite. They're going to tell the muscle, whatever you're doing to the muscle, the GTOs are going to be activated, and they get on the phone and they're like, hey guys, hey, muscle spindles, y'all need to just shut down right now. And they go, okay, cool. And the muscle relaxes. Okay, here's the question. When is it a really good time for your muscles to relax? During what activity? Raise your hand if you know the answer. What activity would be a really, really good time for your muscles to relax? Go ahead, Mike. Unmute.
Stretching.
Give him a hand. Come on.
Yes.
Did everybody know that?
Yes.
Mhm.
What? Okay, Michael, follow up. What type of stretching?
I want to say passive, where you're
And
static.
if you said passive, you would be correct. Are y'all with me on this?
Yes. I
When
am.
you're stretching, there's different ways, right? We know there's different ways to stretch: active, dynamic, static, passive. When you're doing passive, sort of static type stretching, you want the muscles to relax, right? Is there yes? Don't give me the 50-mile-an-hour stare. Okay. Go like this. Yeah, yeah, Doug. Yeah. When you're doing passive stretching after a workout on a day off, you actually want the muscle to relax. This is why we don't do passive stretching prior to a workout. Is everybody with me? Okay. We do what type of stretching prior to a workout? What kind of
Active.
stretching?
Active.
Active. Thank you, Terry. Is everybody with me? We do active stretching before a workout because active stretching has sort of the unique quality or unique capability to lengthen the muscle, which is what you'd like to do, rearrange the collagen fibers inside the muscles and the tendon and everything else without causing too much of a down regulation of the power output of the muscle. Whereas passive stretching does what? It literally down regulates power output of the muscle. And that's great after you're done, guys. That's great. But not before workout. Does everybody understand why this is so important to understand these concepts?
Yes.
So, autogenic inhibition occurs in a single muscle. But y'all saw that second term, right? What's the second term?
Reciprocal.
Reciprocal inhibition. Now, what is reciprocal inhibition? Autogenic inhibition involves one muscle. Reciprocal inhibition involves.
Two muscles.
Two or more.
Now,
Two.
we say two just for ease of explanation, but it's actually two or more muscles, right? Because you can have multiple muscles performing a very similar kinesiological function during a movement pattern. We will normally just use the concept of the dumbbell curl, right? Biceps and the triceps. Yes?
Yes.
So technically, if I say I'm going to do a dumbbell curl, you can apply the concept of reciprocal inhibition by saying, now listen to this, bicep contraction, right, is going to do what to the tricep? If I do a dumbbell curl, what does the tricep have to do to allow the bicep to actually flex the elbow? What does it have to do?
Relax.
Duh. Yes. Is everybody with you should all be going, duh. If my tricep contracts at the same time my bicep contracts, what happens?
Your arm stay still.
You're like this. You can't move it, right? So the bicep contracts, the tricep must relax. By the way, what happens when I'm doing a tricep push down?
Bicep relax.
Man, Terry, did you want to take over and teach or what? What's going on? Does that make sense to everybody? When I do a tricep push down, my tricep now becomes the primary mover of elbow extension. And I know some of you have been struggling with memorizing some of the terms. And I get that. Flexion, extension, that's kinesiology, folks. Does everybody remember the kinesiological terms? Flexion, extension, abduction, adduction. Yes? Internal, external rotation. The reason these concepts are so important is because any type of exercise movement that you're doing is going to involve multiple muscles. The muscles that are doing the primary movement, if I'm doing a bench press, what are the primary muscles involved with a bench press? Pectoralis major, right? Yeah, anterior deltoids, triceps. Listen to the word, what are the antagonistic muscles to those three muscles I just mentioned, pectoralis, deltoids, and triceps. Does everybody know what the antagonistic muscle groups are? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. My pecs have a kinesiological function. What opposes the pectoralis major when you're doing a bench press? What muscle groups, muscle groups, oppose or are antagonistic to the pectoralis major?
Back.
What part of your back?
Um, I think it's the upper part. I think.
Lashonda, your trapezius, particularly the middle part of your trapezius, rhomboids. Uh-oh. Doug, I didn't see that word in there. You didn't talk. Folks, I'm just trying to give you a little bit of an overview here. It's helpful to understand. Now, you technically could say your latissimus dorsi as well. You could, although I wouldn't necessarily agree with it, but I've seen people say the serratus anterior might be a part of that. I would call the serratus actually a sort of a beneficial movement to help the pecs in that respect, like the pectoralis minor. But the point is, does everybody understand the basic concept that reciprocal inhibition now involves two sets or two groups of muscles, two or more? So if I was to talk to you about reciprocal inhibition when I do a bench press, and I'm just talking about my pectoralis major, what muscle groups are going to have to relax to allow me to push my arms forward this way?
Lats and traps.
Thank you. What part of the traps, Terry?
Uh,
Generally the middle, right?
the middle.
And the rhomboids as well.
Okay.
Okay, who's with me and who's lost? Who's with me? Yes?
I'm with you.
Okay, everybody that didn't raise their hand, I'm not going to ask you to raise it if I say who's lost. Here's what you got to remember from these slides. Autogenic inhibition, one muscle. Reciprocal inhibition, two muscles. Do I need to say that again? Autogenic inhibition. What is autogenic inhibition?
One muscle, the use of one muscle.
Use of one muscle. What happens during autogenic inhibition?
Relax.
Relax.
Mm-hmm.
The muscle relaxes, but how? From what? What is the process?
Stimulants of the GTOs.
Golgi tendon organ.
And what do the GTOs do?
Turn off the muscle.
Muscle spindle fibers.
Yeah.
Has everybody got this? You sure? Okay. Okay. Reciprocal inhibition. Now, folks, again, I don't want to lose you on this, but reciprocal inhibition is when the agonist, listen to the way I'm saying this. I'll use the dumbbell curl. It's a lot easier. Reciprocal inhibition is when the agonist or the muscle that's doing the movement. So we're talking about dumbbell curls. What muscle is being used during dumbbell curls? The biceps, right? Let's just say the biceps. Is everybody with me? If I'm doing a dumbbell curl, the agonist is the primary mover for that movement, which is elbow flexion. Biceps, agonist. What is the antagonist? Everybody tell me, what's the antagonistic muscle?
Tricep.
Triceps, right? Triceps. So everybody got that? Elbow flexion, the antagonist is an elbow extensor, right? So that's the tricep. Reciprocal inhibition is when the agonist, I'll try and make this simple, tells the antagonist to shut down and don't work. Stop working. Does everybody get that?
Yes.
Because if I'm doing a dumbbell curl, how does my tricep know to relax? How does my tricep know to not work? Well, it has to get a signal from its antagonistic muscle, the bicep. It has to get a signal from the muscle that's working to tell it to do what?
Relax.
Shut down. Yes? Is there, Janine, you got it? You with me? Okay. How does it do it? That's the question. How does the bicep, now look, I'm doing air quotes, guys. How does the bicep tell the tricep to stop working?
The muscle spindle fibers. Mm,
No, the GTOs.
Somewhere along the line, the tricep has to get a message to turn the GTOs on and then therefore turn off the muscle spindle fibers.
Right.
By the way, that happens through your spinal cord. Your bicep literally sends an impulse to the spinal cord. There's a little transfer of electrical activity and messaging from the spinal cord. The nerve that's going to connect to your tricep gets a response to tell the GTOs to get activated, and they shut down the muscle spindle fibers. It sounds a little circuitous, but it's really not. Essentially, what in reciprocal inhibition, the agonist is causing autogenic inhibition in the antagonist. Now, I know I just threw a couple of you for a loop when I said that, didn't I? Yes? What is autogenic inhibition?
Autogenic is when one
When one muscle gets relaxed because GTOs tell that muscle's muscle spindle fibers. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Michelle. Yeah. Michelle, do you have a question? Or are you good?
I'm good. I was saying one muscle.
Got it. Is everybody with me?
Yes.
All reciprocal inhibition is when a working muscle tells the antagonistic muscle to shut down. But we already know what shuts down a muscle. What shuts down a muscle or relaxes it? Come on. Just over and over. The GTOs in that muscle. So what is the bicep telling the tricep to do?
Relax.
Go through autogenic inhibition, which means stimulate the GTOs, and the triceps GTOs are stimulated, which deactivates the triceps muscle spindle fibers. Now, I know what you all are thinking. Doug, what does this have to do with anything of importance? And I just told you, it's all about, well, I shouldn't say it's all about, but it's predominantly about stretching. Does that make sense to everybody? How many of y'all understand now the concepts of muscle spindle fibers, Golgi tendon organs, and also understand this concept of autogenic and reciprocal inhibition? Raise your hand if you remember what I just went over. Yes?
Yeah,
who does not? Tamara, you still kind of... Okay. By the way, I'm recording this, guys, so remember, you can watch it again if you need to. Now, you also know you can reach out to me one-on-one. And so the concept that I went over on that one slide is critical, because when we get into the other lessons and we talk about stretching, we're going to be referring back to that. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Raise your hand if you've got a question that you would like me to answer. Yay or nay? Okay. Wow, was it really that good of a job that I did? Wow.
I think you did a great job.
Man, Terry, I appreciate that. Okay. Terry.
Yes.
I'm going to stop your video here real quick.
Okay.
Can I get another screenshot with you guys? Yes? Can you have even more energy this time? Maybe? All right, you guys ready? Everybody wave and say, yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Hold on. No, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
Nice. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Remember, if you have questions outside of this, obviously you can set up a meeting with me, either one-on-one or participate in the group calls. Is everybody good? Yes?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
It was great seeing everybody. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk later.
You too.
See you later.